Hello, everybody, and welcome into Know Thy Enemy Week 2 edition. Last week, we previewed the Patriots, and unfortunately, that didn't go so well for the Bengals. But here we are looking ahead to Week 2, as we always do. Thanks to TAWSN for presenting this as always. And without further ado, let's take a closer look at the enemy for Week 2 for the Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, this is a team that people are quite familiar with over the last few years, as the Bengals and Chiefs have matched up multiple times, having some victories shared each way now. And the series is very close and contentious, which should make for a great matchup this upcoming week in Arrowhead. Now, this Chiefs team has kind of changed and shifted a little bit since the initial first meeting with the Bengals, where there were maybe some question marks on the defensive secondary. And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were just such monumental pieces of the offense. And there wasn't much room for other places or other players to really receive a lot of spotlight. But now, a couple years down the road, things have shifted a little bit. And so, while you know the star players like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, we're going to focus more on some of the other cast of characters that have changed to help you know your enemy for the upcoming week. I want to start off by spotlighting Rasheed Rice, who burst onto the scene as a rookie, looking like a top 20 wide receiver by the end of the season. He racked up 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, and his 8.1 yards after the catch per reception ranked second among qualifying wide receivers last year. When they played the Bengals last time, Rasheed Rice burned them to the tune of 127 yards. I think it's going to be very key to try and slow him down as well as his yards after the catch ability, especially when considering how poor the tackling looked versus the Patriots earlier this week. While we're talking about very talented weapons, you obviously have to bring up the rookie Xavier Worthy out of Texas. The new weapon in town scored a touchdown on his first NFL touch on a jet sweep handoff last week, caught 2 of 3 of his other targets for 47 yards and a touchdown on busted coverage against the Ravens. The speedster is a bit of a replacement for Tyreek Hill, but it would be unfair to just deem him a deep threat, as he can offer a lot more polish and versatility than your standard run-of-the-mill Marquez Valdez-Scantling type. The offensive line continues to be a strength for the Chiefs. We know they have the stalwarts and the talented tandem and Creed Humphrey and Joe Thuney on the inside, but you also have Trey Smith as well. Joe Thomas and Creed Humphrey both ranked third and sixth in PFF grade at their respective positions. Trey Smith also ranked top 10 at the guard position in 2024, placing inside the top 15 both as a run blocker and a pass blocker. Now, looking at the bookends of the offensive line is where you start to see a little bit more of the cracks in the facade, where you have the much maligned and often penalized Juwan Taylor, who's protecting Mahomes' right side. His 20 penalties last season ranked first among all offensive linemen, and he continued his up and down play in the season opener against the Ravens, allowing a QB hit and hurry on just 17 pass blocking snaps. Looking at the left tackle spot, though, you have new rookie Kingsley Suamataia, who gave up one pressure on his 17 pass blocking snaps, and despite a few struggles, managed to hold his own against a fairly talented Ravens overall front. Obviously, Isaiah Pacheco is the running back there. No Jerick McKinnon there anymore, as Samaje Perine has kind of taken that backup role. And Pacheco is a very talented back. He was PFF's 8th highest graded running back last season and will look to continue that momentum into this season and the newly revamped Chiefs offense. Travis Kelce, in a plan to kind of limit the wear and tear on his body and maintain his ability to contribute in the postseason, will probably be sharing a few more snaps with Noah Gray than he usually would. I think that obviously he's lost a bit of his athleticism, but is still a super talented receiver. Great feel with Patrick Mahomes and the off-script plays, and also is excellent at finding those soft spots in his zone. He will still be a threat that the Bengals need to be aware of. Looking over at the defense for the Chiefs, the defense has become a strength for this team, and they don't have to rely on blitzes to cover for holes like they really used to. That doesn't mean that Steve Spagnuolo has necessarily shied away from the blitz, though. Kansas City's defense actually ranked top 5 in EPA allowed per play last year. And while we know Chris Jones has been a one-man wrecking crew for a while, there are still some other characters that form a cohesive and formidable defensive unit that have some players that we should be aware of. The first of all, aiding Chris Jones in creating chaos is a second-year edge in George Karlaftis. And he's looking to produce a little bit more in terms of down-to-down consistency from last year, but he can get hot and be very effective, as evidenced by his 6 pressures that he generated versus the Ravens and Lamar Jackson in the season opener. He also amassed 64 pressures and 11 sacks last season as a rookie. So he was very productive, though did have his shares of ups and downs a little bit. Looking to the secondary, the leader in this house is Trent McDuffie, and he is an extremely talented player who seemed to have taken a step forward in his second year last year, becoming one of the better corners in this league. He followed up his rookie year with a sophomore breakout and ranked sixth among corners in PFF grade. He's also very dynamic in the sense of like Mike Hilton, where he is a very, very talented blitzer and pairs excellently with Steve Spagnuolo, where he generated 16 pressures and 3 sacks en route to a 91.7 pass rush grade that ranked first among all corners last season. Spagnuolo loves to blitz like crazy, and McDuffie will definitely be someone to watch out for in this game as a potential weapon to do that. The rest of the secondary has a lot of quality players, but that's not to say that they were without their holes. Josh Williams and Jalen Watson are definitely two capable corners, but are maybe not, farther than above average unless they're having really, really good days. The veteran safety Justin Reed is a player that I've loved since he came out of Stanford and is an excellent tackler and run defender, but there are ability or opportunities to exploit in his coverage a little bit, as well as former Cincinnati Bearcat Brian Cook, the opposite safety next to him. I do think there are going to be opportunities to challenge these players with guys like Jamar Chase, with Yoshi Voss, with maybe a Jermaine Burton going deep. We'll have yet to see what the Bengals do with their wide receiver room going into this game. Now, considering all of the strengths of the Kansas City Chiefs that lie in their secondary, their defensive line, their offensive line, this is a very, very talented team with one of the best, let's be honest, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Probably the best coach coordinator combo in the NFL right now in Andy Reid. And we have so much respect for them and the players that the Chiefs have. So, what is the Bengals' path to victory if they want to beat the Chiefs? I think that starts with Rashee Rice, who I said burned them to the tune of 127 yards last time they played. I think you're going to need to take him away and challenge the rookie and Pat Mahomes, who may not have the chemistry quite built up yet in week 2, to try and beat you, to try and connect, to try and be on the same page. I think also you're going to have to try and make Travis Kelce beat you again, because I don't think he's the athletic threat to beat you that he used to be. He's not ripping up the seams necessarily at the same pace that he used to. It's going to be a lot more of him feeling out zone. So as long as you're aware of him and making sure that you're taking him away as an option, or just doing like what the Patriots did, where you force them to throw it to him short and then rally and make the tackle, he doesn't necessarily have the athleticism, the peak athleticism, to necessarily beat you constantly off of the catch like he used to. If you can do that and contain quarterback Pat Mahomes from running, bailing on pockets, make him throw the ball, I think that the Bengals are going to have their best chance to win. Not to mention, every time that the ball is going to Isaiah Pacheco, though he's a very talented player, you're taking the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands, Rashee Rice's hands, Travis Kelce's hands. So if I can try and find a way to either lighten up the box to try and encourage the Chiefs to run the ball, I would definitely be interested in doing that, because it just takes one bad run, penetrating, open backfield tackle to put you in a third and long, second and long, that then make it a much more manageable down for the Bengals on defense. Now, looking at the Bengals offense, what do you do? While the linebackers have been up and down in play, and Nick Bolton has shown flashes, and Drew Tranquil has come off waivers to the Chiefs to play pretty well for a guy who was on waivers at one point. There's still up and down plays. There's still lack of consistency. There's still challenges in coverage. Tranquil is a little bit better in coverage than Bolton is, but there's going to be opportunities to exploit them and the safeties in coverage. The corners are very talented. The blitzes are going to be there. And that's going to be the other aspect, is Joe Burrow has always been very, very efficient and very effective against the blitz. He's going to need to be the quick processing version of himself, not the a little bit slow, a little bit timid version that he showed up with versus New England on Sunday. He's going to need to be decisive. He's going to need to be quick, and he's going to need to process that well, because he's always done well against the blitz. But we know Spagnuolo is going to find very interesting ways to dress these up, disguise things, use simulated pressures, and Chris Jones is down there to just wreak havoc and move around on the defensive line whenever he feels like it, and he feels like he can get an advantage. So that's definitely something that you're going to have to watch out for. And if the Bengals can continue to what they do versus the Patriots, where they ran the ball effectively, just not at a very high rate, use 12 personnel and try and find some consistency down to down, ways to sustain these drives, to maintain possession using a well-balanced mix of pass and run. I think there are going to be opportunities, maybe with some play action shots after you can, again, analytics guy. I say establish the run with deep disdain in my heart, but the Bengals don't run all the time. They're a heavy passing team. You got to make them believe that you're going to run, and you were very effective against using the run against the Patriots.
Down in 3.
Do the same against the Chiefs. Make them overcommit. Make them blitz. Make them give you the one-on-one opportunities, and then take your shots to your talented playmakers. Don't be scared. Be aggressive. You're going into Arrowhead against one of the best teams. You can't play scared. You can't punt the ball away when you don't feel comfortable. You got to go out there and seize the game. And if you follow these keys to victory and you go out there and you play aggressive and you take your shots, the Bengals absolutely can have a chance to win against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Thank you as always for joining us. Please give this video a like and subscribe. Help us to continue to bring awesome content like this to you. And don't forget to tune in to State of the Jungle every Wednesday at 7 p.m. as we discuss the Bengals games, preview the upcoming games, and answer all of your questions. Thanks for joining us. Houday.